My wife cheated claiming she deserved more than a mechanic's wife lifestyle, and now she's living paycheck to paycheck flipping burgers at a fast food chain. I'm Shane, 29, married to Chloe, 27, for 4 years. I work as an automotive technician at a Ford dealership, and she was an assistant manager at a mid-tier clothing store. We live in a modest apartment and have been saving money for a house down payment, living within our means on our combined income of about $60,000 annually. 6 months ago, Chloe started complaining constantly about our financial situation and lifestyle. She'd make comments about how we never went to nice restaurants, couldn't afford designer clothes, and were stuck in working-class mediocrity while her college friends were living more sophisticated lives. Chloe began following wealthy lifestyle influencers on social media and would show me posts about luxury vacations, expensive shopping hauls, and upscale dining experiences. She seemed increasingly frustrated that we couldn't afford the lifestyle she was seeing online. Over the past few months, Chloe started working extra hours at the clothing store, claiming she wanted to save more money for our future house. She'd come home late from inventory nights and district manager visits, always talking about how hard she was working to improve our situation. Chloe also began dressing more expensively for work, buying designer makeup and getting professional hair treatments that seemed excessive for a retail job. When I questioned the expenses, she said appearance was important for potential promotions in fashion retail. 3 weeks ago, Chloe started mentioning Jake, a customer who'd become a regular at her store. She described him as a successful real estate agent who drove expensive cars and always bought high-end clothes without checking prices. She seemed impressed by his lifestyle and spending habits. Chloe began staying out later, claiming Jake had been giving her career advice about moving into luxury retail or real estate sales. She said he was teaching her about networking and professional development in higher income industries. Last Tuesday, I decided to surprise Chloe at work with lunch, but her coworkers told me she'd left early for a business meeting with Jake. I called her phone, but it went straight to voicemail, which was unusual since she always answered during work hours. That evening, Chloe came home acting nervous and distant. When I asked about her business meeting, she became defensive and claimed Jake was helping her explore better career opportunities that could significantly increase our household income. Friday night, I followed Chloe when she left for another supposed business meeting with Jake. Instead of going to a restaurant or office, she drove to an upscale hotel downtown and met Jake in the lobby before going up to a room together. I waited in the hotel parking lot for 3 hours, watching Jake's BMW and Chloe's Honda sitting side by side while she was upstairs having an affair with someone whose lifestyle she obviously preferred to ours. When Chloe came home that night, I confronted her about the hotel. She initially tried to claim it had been a legitimate business meeting in Jake's hotel suite, but the timeline and location made her explanation obviously false. Finally, Chloe admitted to having an affair with Jake for the past month. She claimed she'd been attracted to his success and sophistication, and that their relationship had shown her what life could be like with someone who could provide real financial security. Chloe said she was tired of living paycheck to paycheck and worrying about money constantly. She felt like she deserved better than being married to a mechanic who would never be able to give her the lifestyle she wanted. Chloe explained that Jake had been promising to help her get into luxury real estate sales, where she could make serious money and finally live the sophisticated lifestyle she'd been craving. She seemed convinced that Jake represented her ticket to financial upgrade. But the most hurtful part was when Chloe said she'd realized our marriage was holding her back from achieving her potential. She claimed that staying with me meant accepting a life of financial limitation that she wasn't willing to settle for anymore. Chloe asked for a divorce so she could pursue her relationship with Jake and the career opportunities he was offering. She seemed excited about starting a new life with someone who could provide the luxury lifestyle she felt she deserved. I told Chloe that if she thought Jake and his money were better than our marriage, she should leave immediately and start her upgraded lifestyle. She seemed surprised that I wasn't willing to fight for our relationship or try to compete with Jake's wealth. Chloe packed her belongings that weekend and moved into Jake's downtown loft apartment. She was clearly thrilled about living in an upscale space and being with someone who could afford expensive dinners and designer clothes. But 2 weeks later, Chloe's excitement turned to devastation when she discovered that Jake was married with 2 children, and his wife had found out about their affair through credit card statements showing hotel charges and expensive gifts. Jake's wife immediately filed for divorce and demanded forensic accounting of all marital assets, which revealed that Jake had been using joint funds and business accounts to finance his affair with Chloe. His real estate business was also under investigation for potential financial irregularities. Within days of his wife discovering the affair, Jake cut off all contact with Chloe and kicked her out of his loft apartment. He was facing potential criminal charges for financial misconduct and couldn't afford to maintain his lifestyle, let alone support Chloe. Chloe found herself suddenly homeless and unemployed, having quit her retail job to pursue the luxury real estate career that Jake had promised to arrange for her. His connections and opportunities had been as fake as his claims about being single. Now she's living paycheck to paycheck flipping burgers at a fast food chain. Chloe's dream of luxury real estate sales collapsed when Jake's business license was suspended pending investigation into his financial practices, and his professional network wanted nothing to do with anyone associated with his scandal. With no income, no apartment, and no job prospects in her desired field, Chloe was forced to take the first employment she could find, a minimum wage position at a burger joint near her parents' house where she had to move back in at age 27. The transition from assistant retail manager to fast food worker was devastating for Chloe's ego and self-image. She'd left our stable marriage expecting to upgrade her lifestyle, but instead had downgraded to living with her parents while wearing a fast food uniform. Chloe tried to return to retail management, but her sudden departure from her previous job without notice had burned bridges with her former employer and created gaps in her employment history that were difficult to explain to potential employers. The luxury lifestyle Chloe had experienced with Jake lasted less than 2 months before his legal troubles destroyed both his wealth and their relationship. She'd traded 4 years of marriage for 8 weeks of expensive dinners and designer clothes. Jake's criminal investigation revealed that his affluent lifestyle had been built on embezzled client funds and fraudulent real estate transactions. The man Chloe thought could provide financial security was actually facing federal charges for theft and money laundering. Chloe's family was humiliated by her situation and constantly reminded her that she'd destroyed a stable marriage for a relationship with a criminal who'd abandoned her when facing consequences. Family gatherings became exercises in shame and regret. The burger joint job was particularly difficult because several of our mutual friends and former coworkers would occasionally come through the drive-thru and see Chloe in her uniform, creating awkward encounters that reinforced how far her life had fallen. Chloe tried to contact me multiple times, apparently hoping for reconciliation now that she understood the difference between genuine stability and fake wealth. She seemed to expect sympathy for being deceived by Jake and abandoned when his life collapsed. I'd moved on completely, dating someone I met through work who appreciated loyalty and partnership over material ambition. My new relationship was built on shared values rather than the status seeking that had destroyed my marriage with Chloe. The divorce settlement left Chloe with minimal assets since she'd contributed to the breakdown of our marriage through adultery, and her unemployment made her unable to contest any decisions about property division or support obligations. 6 months after leaving me for Jake's promises of luxury, Chloe was still living with her parents and working fast food while dealing with the reality that her pursuit of a better lifestyle had resulted in complete downward mobility. Chloe's social media posts became increasingly desperate, with content about personal growth and learning from mistakes, but her followers could see the obvious decline in her lifestyle and circumstances compared to when she'd been married. A year after our divorce, Chloe was still working minimum wage jobs and struggling to afford basic independence while watching her former friends advance in careers and relationships. Her attempt to upgrade had resulted in permanent downgrade. The most ironic outcome was that Chloe had complained about living paycheck to paycheck during our marriage, but our combined income had provided comfortable middle-class stability compared to her current poverty-level existence. Chloe had wanted to escape the limitations of being married to a mechanic, but her pursuit of wealth and status had left her in a much more limited situation with no partner, no career prospects, and no financial security. Jake eventually pled guilty to multiple felonies and received a 5-year federal prison sentence, while his former assets were seized to compensate victims of his financial crimes. The lifestyle that had attracted Chloe was entirely built on stolen money. 2 years later, Chloe was still working fast food and living with her parents while trying to rebuild basic financial stability. Her pursuit of deserving more had resulted in having significantly less than when she'd been married to me. The sophisticated lifestyle Chloe had craved was now completely impossible due to her employment history, lack of professional development, and association with Jake's criminal enterprise. She'd made herself unmarketable in every sense. Chloe occasionally posted social media content about appreciating simple things and finding happiness in small moments, but everyone could see these were attempts to rationalize a life that had been destroyed by her own choices and unrealistic expectations. The designer clothes and expensive dinners Chloe had experienced during her affair were replaced by fast food uniforms and value menu meals, creating a permanent reminder of how her pursuit of luxury had resulted in the opposite outcome she'd